This is Ben Secrest from Accurate Fishing Products, and welcome to part 2 of tuna techniques. Today I wanted to go and talk to you about another aspect of fishing for bird school tuna, and that is fishing on the slide or casting baits. And when I look at baits, I'm talking about lures. This little lure is called a Max130. It's been my secret weapon for the past couple of years down in Puerto Vallarta. And I fish this two different ways. I cast this into boiling fish as we're coming up under them, or they come up behind the boat. And a lot of times I could troll this. I put this on the troll, caught lots of fish on the troll, or what we call on the West Coast, they call it on the slide. That means that the guy will run the boat up at a bird school or up at a group of foaming fish. And as it gets close to the fish, he pulls back on the throttles and the boat will basically drift into the school of fish. A lot of times when that's going on, you'll have a whole bunch of guys running up to the bow of the boat to throw poppers with spinning rods or just regular conventional rods. I sit about midship, all right, and I'll just flick this thing in the water, put the reel in free spool, and drop this back. This is weighted, and it's weighted towards the head, so it actually has action when it's swimming down. And that's the cool thing about it. You don't have to. Only thing you have to do is wind this or throw it. On the sink, this has the same action as it does while you're winding it, and the fish destroy it. What's cool about this bait is it's put together very well. The guys at Halco have done a hell of a job. They've been in business since 1950, and they do a very good job of manufacturing lures, but you know when you have a good one, the good ones won't have any paint on them, and I don't have any to show you, but what I wanted to show you is also the setup that we use for the Halco fishing. Like, this is our 30 narrow Boss Extreme, okay, and it's a 2-speed. The thing with the 30 narrow, guys are going, why do you use this? Well, in Puerto Vallarta is a little bit different than other places, and I think Louisiana is similar. You can actually put this thing back, you can put the Max back, and you can hook a fish that's bigger than that 30 to 60 pounder. You can hook a fish that's 150, maybe 200 pounds. And on the Max, the biggest fish so far in the Max that we've got is like 189. That was last year we got one. But the key to that was having the right gear. So a lot of times I'll use a 600 if the fish seem to be a little bit smaller. But if there's any like signs of bigger fish, I'll put on the BX230 narrow. With the BX230 narrow, I'm fishing 80-pound braid. And the key thing that I've learned over the years is I fish at least 100-pound top shot on this thing. Reason being is a few years back I hooked a fish on 80. I fought the fish for a long time. The fish finally chewed through the mono. I ain't gonna have that happen anymore. So I'm fishing at least 100. Sometimes I fish 125. Fluorocarbon works really super good. But with this lure, you've got trebles on it, right? Now guys go, I'll go to singles. Well, to get away from any problem with the trebles, a lot of times what I do is I go to the owner. The owner makes a 204X. And the 204X is a really, really good hook. I've never had any problems with it opening up, and it really secures the fish. If fish eats, he's gonna be hooked, and he's hooked real well. The rod that we fish this on is called a BX 7040. Okay, 7040 is basically rated for 65 to 80-pound braid. What's cool about the 7040 is it's super, super light, and it has some guts. So if you feel like putting it on the rail and using it as a rail rod, you can use a rail rod. You could actually harness up because you got lugs on this one. You've got lugs on this reel, so you can harness up if you're doing that. But what I really is important to me is if you look right here, this is a wind-on leader. With a wind-on leader, I can cast the Max, and I have no problem with knots hanging up in the guides, okay? And by that, it makes my whole experience super positive, just love it. But I guess my point to you with this whole setup is, depending on what type of fishing you're doing, a lot of times fish are spooky and they won't let you get near them, you can cast this Max a long ways. And if you're in a place, like I said, where you're not dealing with the possibility of hooking a 150 or 200 pounder, I would use the BX2 600 narrow or a 600, and you could cast this a country mile. And the thing that's nice about this whole setup here, super comfortable, And I think the key with some of those tunas, depending on what's going on, especially for you guys that haven't spent a whole bunch of time catching tunas, the 2-speed, by going into low, when those fish get in that circle, you just go into low, just wind, you find a spot where you can rest your rod, keep your rod loaded, which is one of the most important things of fishing, and just wind them up. So if you're looking for any more information, you can go through and contact us at info@accuratefishing.com. And again, if you want to have some fun casting or on the slide, this Max 130 works great. And this is the perfect setup for us. We just got these rods in. So the rods are the 6-ply graphite glass rods that we did a video on earlier. And if you want more information on them, you can look us up at YouTube. So hope all your fishing's really good, and thanks for tuning in to Accurate for the videos.